Film, gaming, pop culture. Welcome to episode 16 of Everything is Permitted here at Wade's Comic Madness. I'm your host, Julian Brown, alongside my co-host, Matt Reppert. How you doing, man?
I am doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm exhausted, man. It was a long day.
Yeah,
it was a long day yesterday.
you.
Chasing around a 3-year-old in Brooklyn at the pier and for WrestleMania Access was not something I think I was quite ready for, but here we are. I took some Advil. So.
No, you had to take WrestleMania Access, you said?
So yeah, WrestleMania Access is like the convention stuff before actual WrestleMania.
Okay.
Where you can like meet superstars, you can like go to a commentary booth and call a match.
Did you meet anybody?
I'm gonna get to that because
Okay.
that's gonna be my rant. I'm actually gonna talk about wrestling on the show for the first time because I feel
all right.
I have to.
All right.
But it was a good time. But what's going on with you?
Basically, I know I talked about this the last episode, and I'm going to bring it up one more time, and then I'm going to be done talking about it for a while.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Bungie and Destiny.
Yes,
Yeah.
partially true, yes. Basically, I thought I completed that goddamn quest line for that frickin' gun, only to discover that, you have to get 100 headshots in competitive matches, which I did. And then I discovered that, oh wait, the very last thing apparently you have to do is achieve glory rank, which means you have to get up to a certain rank. In competitive, if you lose rank.
Is that something they added? Because when I was still playing, I'd never
know.
heard of glory mode.
I think they added it like a few months back. I don't remember when exactly, because I know that they have Valor and Glory ranks. They're two separate things. But now and the problem is that Glory rank is tied to 3 different quest lines for weapons and stuff like that. You have to get Glory. You have to achieve the certain Glory rank in order to get the weapon. And I did some research to see like how could I achieve this, and some people are like, look, if you're not good enough to get it, you're not good enough to use the weapons. And I'm just like, well, that's fine. I understand I'm not on the level of like some gamers, and I'm not what I used to be, but it's nice to have access to things, because the thing is that if you could only use those weapons in competitive mode, then fine, whatever. I'm not good enough to get them. I'm cool with that. But they bring them into normal PvP matches. So some guys running around with the Recluse submachine gun, the Lunas Howl hand cannon, and those things they wreck people. Like, if you know what you're doing, they kill them.
And this is why I don't play Destiny anymore, and why I'm fully into and immersed in Division 2.
Okay.
Washington, D.C. is such a fun... I said it last week, just an awesome location to be running around and finding things and be like, oh man, like I've been there, and I've done like this historical thing, and I've been in this museum, and it's awesome. I like it a lot. Before I go into my wrestling rant a little bit, I'm going to do a couple of more plugs here for Wade. Like I said last week, Free Comic Book Day is a little less than a month away, so May the 4th is Free Comic Book Day. You come into the shop, you get in line, and you get a whole free bag of comics. And if you have kids, you get a free bag of kid comics as well. You can't beat the deal. So, also, my good friend Wayne, who is an employee here and a gamer, he wanted me to remind people that on Tuesdays, Dragon Ball Super Card Game at 7 p.m. here down in the basement. They also do D&D that same night. So if you're into gaming, like card games like Destiny or Magic, those kind of things, they are doing that on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. That's, again, Dragon Ball Super Card Game and D&D, and I think they're doing D&D 5e. So.
Okay, nice.
So, WrestleMania Access, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It was my first time doing any kind of WrestleMania thing, and it was really cool, man. And like I got tickets from a guy I didn't know, like from England, because I wanted to do.
Wait,
I know.
what?
I risked it. Because I wanted to do the VIP thing, because my daughter is in love with Sasha and Bailey.
Okay.
If you don't know who they are, they're the current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They are facing Beth Phoenix and Natalya versus the Iconics versus Nia Jax and Tamina on Sunday at WrestleMania, which has already happened by the time you're listening to this. So the first thing you do before you even get there, they open up the big mega store early, which, think about just walking into like a warehouse and then full of like every possible WWE thing you could ever imagine, and everything branded for WrestleMania, kind of like you would get for like the Super Bowl. You could get a frame that says WrestleMania on it, and it has like a slot for your ticket, like cups, magnets, pins, all of that. And Cecily and I were like running around in there, and like she was like picking out like everything in the world, plush toys and all sorts of stuff. And then we went back to the car to drop stuff off because we spent too much money. And then you get in line, and once it opens up, if you had the VIP access, you got to go into this whole interactive, again, giant, because they did it at the Navy Pier, or not the Navy Pier, but it's Pier 12 down in Red Hook in Brooklyn, where you would catch the ferry to like go get the Wall Street ferry on the other side in Manhattan. And it's just like this huge space where you can meet superstars, you could recreate entrances, you could call a match, all of these things that you could do. And it was just so cool. So you asked me before we started recording.
Yeah, who did you meet?
Who did I meet? I was like, okay, we have these guaranteed tickets to meet Sasha and Bailey, so I'm going to go get in the line with Shinsuke Nakamura before any of this starts. And I did, and I got to meet him, and that was... So I stopped watching wrestling from about 2012 to 2016, 17. Shinsuke Nakamura was one of the main reasons I came back to watching WWE, because he was in NXT at the time, and I just thought he was amazing. So getting to meet him was really cool. But it was just, I don't know, it was a really cool experience. I got to see matches. Cecily got to recreate Sasha Banks' entrance and walk down with the music and everything. And she got to meet her heroes. Even though she's 3, she's like super into it. So I just thought it was a really good time. And then, I drove home in the rain. It was awful New York City traffic. Got home and watched NXT TakeOver New York, which was probably one of the best wrestling shows I've seen in years. Brought me back to kind of being a kid again. Like, I had no idea who was going to win in the main event. It was Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship, which was vacated. It was just an awesome day full of wrestling. And on Sunday, I get to do it all over again and go to actual WrestleMania. So
it's good you had a good time, although I'm still picturing, like, you walking down the street and some British guy in an alley is like,
oh yeah, so...
I want some tickets.
So... They had a pre-sale if you're like a WWE Network subscriber to get like these VIP tickets.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a whole scandal right now that honestly, I'm a huge fan of John Oliver. I wish he would cover.
Yeah.
On Ticketmaster, because Ticketmaster, even though they say they're against like scalping and like, basically like ticket black markets.
They're terrible.
They have accounts and servers specifically that they open up for scalpers. They sell all these tickets to scalpers first and whatever's left.
The thing that like with buying any kind of ticket online has always kind of like dumbfounded me is like how when they're like, oh, processing fee and things like that. Like, are you guys serious? Like, why don't you just fold the fee into the cost of the ticket? Why? Like, you're basically giving me the middle finger when you
one
when
day
you put
they're going to get called out on this.
I think
it's like loot boxes for video games.
No,
like,
I think Ticketmaster already has.
No, they're still they've been called out.
They've had
nothing's
something
happened.
happen because I remember because I saw Penn and Teller on Broadway years ago, and I got an email saying that like from Ticketmaster saying that look, there's due to some legal settlement we have to do that. Like it was some minor.
Well,
thing.
If that happened, then it's not.
I mean,
showing
it obviously
up in
didn't slow them down.
Because they're still no. I mean, they are awful. They are the worst. And pretty much whenever there's an event, like that's where you get your tickets.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other options, but I don't know. I hope they get what's coming to them at some point. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right. Before we get to the meat of the show and everything, we are going to be talking about some movies that we think are underrated. That's coming up on our show, and we are going to be joined by our friends from the Cinescape podcast, Sean Harrigan and Bill Tozzi. They'll be on, and I hope I got his name right, by the way. And then we will also kind of be folding into that actors and actresses who we think are underrated in movies that we would recommend that they're in. Before we get to that, and before we get to the permitted minute, I just want to kind of do a quick wrap up of where we are now, because the Great Permitted Rewatch has begun.
Yes.
So that started on the 4th with Captain America, Captain Marvel yesterday, and today is Iron Man. So I feel bad because after NXT, I was going to go to a 10:40 showing of Captain Marvel, and NXT ended at 10:14, and I had a few drinks, and I was like, nope, not doing it. So I did my skip, which is Captain Marvel, and we started watching Iron Man this morning. So
okay.
Have you watched any of them?
I haven't, dude, with my work schedule. Cause
I figured,
I pretty much,
but I thought I'd ask.
yeah, and I've been unfortunately busy, without going into too much detail, like outside of work, we had a brush fire that burned about 1,500 acres.
Oh, but at the base?
Yeah, at the base. So we had to there were roads being shut down and stuff like that, so everybody's running around. Because if it's a very quiet time, I might be able to watch an episode or a little bit of a movie or something like that if I have nothing going on, but...
Well,
yeah,
Iron Man's today, and then Iron Man 2, I believe, is tomorrow, and then The Incredible Hulk, which is on the list because it is an MCU movie.
Ugh.
I know, and I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna pain myself through it.
Is that the Eric Bana one?
No, that's the Ed Norton one with
that
Liv
one's
Tyler.
not as terrible. But if you're watching the Eric Bana one, I'd be like, I'm just gonna bless you and wish you luck.
Ed Norton, I think, got a little bit screwed out of getting to play the role again, but I really like Mark Ruffalo.
No, Mark Ruffalo is definitely the better choice.
He's nerdier, which
he's nerdier, but he also kind of brings a little bit of humor to the role, which I don't think Ed Norton would pull off as well.
Ed Norton's never been really funny. He's been
the dry humor kind of guy. He's been I mean, obviously the funniest kind of role that I can think of off the top of my head is either Birdman when he was in Birdman. Yeah, he's also an asshole. It was Birdman or oh my god, or Fight Club, where it was.
Who was he in Birdman?
He was that kind of like high profile actor that Michael Keaton brought in to be in his play.
That's right.
And would like talk to he had this very dry, cynical.
That was a good movie.
No, Birdman was a solid movie, but yeah, we're kind of getting off topic.
It doesn't matter. How many times do we go off topic in an episode anyway? Well, so the permitted rewatch will continue. I hope that you weren't buying through AMC on the day of ticket sales for Avengers Endgame because their servers were down literally the entire day. I squeaked in at like 7:52 and got mine.
It's actually funny on that because I woke up at the day they came out on Tuesday, and I woke up and was like, because I saw like on Facebook people say, "Oh, I got my tickets." I was like, "Oh yeah, tickets. I should get those." I opened up Fandango, worked perfectly. I bought my
Fandango
2 tickets.
wasn't having the issues. What happened was Fandango is smart. They learned their lesson after what happened with Force Awakens, and they started the digital queue system. Mm-hmm. And then, so people were in line. But what happened is, if you were buying through Regal, you could get through the line, and that was fine. But they actually had to pause the line if you were getting AMC tickets because AMC servers literally just shit the bed.
Well, it's funny because like right after I bought my tickets, people were saying, "Oh, Fandango is down. Fandango's not working." I'm like, "It worked fine for me. I don't know what's up with you guys." Well,
so you know what was happening? I was trying on both AMC and Fandango at the same time, and I would put the tickets in my cart. And then it would redirect to a screen that said this showtime is not available, which was not true. It was available.
Yeah.
So each site had its issues. I mean, you can't really be surprised it broke the first day ticket sales.
I mean, we both got our tickets.
We got our tickets.
I know you're going opening night. I'm going Saturday.
Dude,
Saturday
there's a 2:40 a.m. I believe IMAX or Dolby. I think IMAX at Neshaminy, and I might go right after. I wanted. 2:40 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, man, and it was like there was like maybe 2 or 3 tickets sold. So, anyway, if that is all said and done, I believe it is time for
the permitted minute.
The permitted minute. I think we're gonna fly through this one again.
Yeah,
it's been hard to find like 7 good like lengthy subjects, but we'll see what we can do here. We'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Netflix Cowboy Bebop series has been officially cast. Star Trek's John Cho will be playing the lead. Spike Spiegel. Other cast members include Mustafa Shakir, Danielle Pineda, and Alex Hassel.
Terminator Dark Fate has shared the first image of our... Wait, you know what? Is this happening? Like, are we really doing another fucking Terminator movie?
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Go the fuck away, James Cameron. Do we need the Governator? No.
Doctor Strange 2 is set to release in 2020 if rumors are to be believed. Shocking to absolutely no one. Avengers Endgame broke ticket records and became the new record holder on Fandango and Atom for first day pre-sales, crashing AMC servers for the most of the day in the process.
In comic news, Marvel's new crossover War of the Realms started with a bloody beginning with both Odin and Loki, spoilers, seemingly losing their lives. Merp. That's it.
So I think we did
10
it, but
seconds.
my God, there were a lot of errors in that game.
There were.
That was
There
terrible.
were. You know, that's what you do when you're on a clock.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we still had 10 seconds.
I started reading a little bit ahead, so that's why I started saying John at one point.
John.
I was like, crap.
John Cho, man. Mr. Sulu.
I can't, like, and while once again, I'll withhold judgment until I see something of him in action. I'm very like, really?
I know nothing about Cowboy Bebop.
Okay,
so.
you know what? You can go to hell because
Hey, you hold on. I still have my nerd card after Rob Migliaccio, our friend who comes on quite a bit, decided to do a poll to try and embarrass me about who should lose their nerd card over me not seeing Futurama or him not seeing an episode of Star Trek Next Generation.
That was an easy choice.
I won. I still have my nerd card, all right? So I think it's acceptable if I've never seen Cowboy Bebop.
No, and honestly, even if you're not a huge anime fan, I would recommend Cowboy Bebop for you. Like I'm not the anime fan that I once was, but Cowboy Bebop is generally by most anime people agreed to be the best
thing, right?
Anime ever made. Like its soundtrack, it's all
Can we just very quickly talk here about this bullshit Terminator movie?
I can't. I don't know what they're gonna. Considering the fact that the last movie, the trailer literally ruined every single twist the movie had. You know, the fact that
they gave away that Matt Smith was the big bad.
Yes.
Like, come on, man. And like the T-800 is graying now and growing a beard, and what's her name still fucking alive?
That's because the whole reason for that, the explanation for that, was that he went back in time and killed Sarah Connor's parents, and something happened where he essentially raised her after that's hence why he's old.
In Genesis.
Yes.
But that movie's being ignored. James Cameron's doing this, and apparently this takes place after T2. Like all the other movies don't exist apparently.
Wait, how?
I know. Yeah. Like why?
The Terminator franchise is one of those things that honestly, like, just reboot it. If you're gonna like keep doing this, just reboot
They
the
tried
damn thing.
rebooting it and they failed miserably.
Without Arnold. You got to move on from Arnold. Arnold is your one connecting thread to all these movies.
I think that happens when Arnold dies, and no sooner. Like that, he I think has like nudes of James Cameron or something.
James, I'm going to show the photos.
I'm going to show the photos.
All right, Arnold. We'll get you back into the Terminator movie, man. We'll get you back in.
Put me in the new Terminator movie.
Oh man.
Like, yeah, that's like. I mean, but really, were fans demanding another Terminator movie?
No.
Was anybody
and
like?
It's gonna bomb. It's gonna bomb. It's gonna bomb.
Like, honestly, and like, I'll slightly off topic. A movie that I am legit surprised they haven't rebooted for modern day is the Highlander series.
Oh, it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen. But are people really asking for a Highlander reboot?
I'm pretty certain people would be more excited for a new Highlander movie rather than the 8th, 9th Terminator movie.
I'd have to have a really good cast to be excited about a new Highlander movie.
I'm sorry. What was great about the old cast other than Clancy
What was
Brown
his
as
name?
the
Alexander
Kurgan?
Lambert, or what's his name?
Christopher Lambert.
Christopher Lambert. I got the right.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, don't get me. Christopher Lambert was fine in the original movie, and Clancy Brown is always awesome in everything.
And the TV series is underrated, I think. Yeah. Well,
we're gonna disagree on
speaking of underrated, when we come back, we are going to be joined for our guests from the Cinescape podcast to talk about underrated movies or movies that we think are underrated and underrated actors and actresses as well. Or I should say movies that we think are so bad they're good, but I guess they kind of go all together. They will be on when we come back. Welcome back to Everything is Permitted, and we are joined by our guests from the Cinescape podcast. We have Sean Harrigan and Bill Tozzi. Welcome to the show, guys.
How you doing?
Before we get started, do you guys want to give a little bit of insight about, I feel like we kind of have similar shows, but give us a little inside information about what you guys are all about.
Yeah, so Cinescape started a couple years ago, and it started with us, just a love for movies, wanting to review, talk about them, discuss them, and keep fans up to date on information at the same time. Similarly to what you guys are doing with, a humor and a personality twist to it as well. Certainly, given the setting that we're sitting in right now, underneath a comic book store, we were ingrained in that culture as well growing up. So all things nerdum, it's everything under the umbrella there. We try to.
We're literally
cover.
Basement nerds being down in here. It's
Right.
I feel like opening up one of these tabletop games and getting started.
Yeah, I know, man. It would be a lot of fun. Sean, anything you want to add before we get started, or?
Yeah, I think we're actually going to be coming up on our 3rd birthday this year. Our Facebook page gave me a 3-year anniversary reminder last week or so. But September I believe will be our 3-year anniversary. So it's been a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of transition.
What kind of anniversary is that? Is that a wood or a brass?
Ooh, it might be a styrofoam. I think.
What do we get each other?
Yeah, like packing peanut material. You know what I mean?
I'll get you some Lennox.
That's us.
Okay.
I'll get you some Lennox.
All right.
There you go.
Down with that.
Everybody loves Lennox.
Sure.
And if we can do a little bit of a cross plug here real quick, you guys at the end of the month have your, I think, monthly, right, trivia challenge coming up?
We're trying to get it started more frequently now that we have a new studio space, but we will be recording 4 different matches in the Cinescape Trivia Challenge League. It features both movie and TV trivia with ourselves and fellow podcasters coming in and competing against each other. Julian, you're going to be coming in.
I am.
Billy's going to be playing Marty Kraswanos.
Marty!
Not a stranger to the Cinescape Trivia Challenge League as well.
Yeah, we'll see if he's got the chops to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, it'll be a good.
Taz.
I'm excited to take part in my first. I had to take a drive for a wedding down to DC, and I had to listen to a couple, and I was
Nice.
really into it. And I was like, me and my wife both answering along, and we got a couple wrong. I was like, oh man, I gotta start
questions
studying.
that you get wrong are like the ones that like it's something that you've watched either like repetitively that you just maybe didn't pay that much attention
Like
to.
it was like if I had chosen the multiple choice option, I probably would have gotten
Right.
it,
Yeah.
but.
That's where
Who knows?
the gameplay strategy
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
in. Do you want to go for it for
You
the
better
2 full
rep,
points?
I know, I got to rep,
You gotta rep,
I still have to
because
record
don't get me
my
wrong,
my
your nerd card
promo.
can still be revoked at any time.
You know what? enough of that. I'm excited to come on and do the trivia challenge. I'm pretty stoked. Let's get down to this.
Yeah.
So, Matt's been kind of going along with this idea. He's been talking to me about it for a little bit about movies that are so bad that they're good. And I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean,
God, dude.
we could probably spend 2 episodes talking
there
about
The 1980s.
the 1980s. early
VHS did more for this topic than you would ever know.
Oh man, Matt came far more prepared than I did. I have one movie, so I'm really hoping no one steals it from me. But since we have guests, our guests
Roots, isn't
always
it? It's Roots.
It's absolutely Roots. I'm gonna let our guests go first, and Bill, we're gonna start with you. A
right.
movie that is so bad that
Well,
it's good.
I'm gonna kick it off right here. Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
That movie.
Oh my God.
I the fact that Taco Bell is the only still remaining franchise of the food wars that took place. I think in that future of the movie, which I don't think is too far off from our current date. It keeps me a little worried, but I mean, I'll take Taco Bell. I mean, I love it, but Demolition Man, it's not great. Especially the guy. Remember how he had his like sideburns cut like over his ears, like a square wheel well of a truck. Yeah.
So, this could be a potential revoking of my nerd card.
You haven't seen it, have you?
Well, I've seen it, but like I haven't watched it since I've been an adult.
Well, that's okay.
So
fine.
I don't remember a thing about it. I know
It's one of
that-
those you saw it, you just don't really remember it.
The far off future of 1996 is a bleak hellscape.
It sounds like
That's where
Blade
it
Runner
starts
a little
off.
bit, like 1999, right? Isn't Blade Runner
I
1999?
don't remember off the top of my head.
Blade Runner. I'm not a big Blade Runner fan.
I feel like Blade
tried
Runner
to
was
watch it
actually
before and I
around
couldn't do it.
this time.
See, now I feel like I should then choose Blade Runner as my movie, but I don't think that Blade Runner is considered underrated.
Nah, I think it's probably rated just where it should be. It's it's a big underground nerd.
it's got a big
sci-fi
cult
movie.
following.
It's a big cult,
but
yeah.
It's not,
My
it's not
dad got
popular.
me into it.
Which of like the 20 cuts of it though?
And there's the big director's cut, which is
There's
the
the director's
good one.
cut. There's the original that has Harrison Ford's voiceover, which I'm pretty certain he didn't want to ever do.
I feel like Harrison Ford is roped into a lot of things that he doesn't want to do, but
What does Hollywood have on Harrison Ford, I wonder?
it's always nudes. It's always nudes. But
nudes.
Demolition Man and Taco Bell, though. Taco Bell's around. You know why Taco Bell's still around. because that beef's not actually beef, man. That's all like synthetic, and like
Yeah.
I'm sure they just shot a bunch of
it.
horses before the apocalypse or
I'm
whatever.
I'm pretty certain that I would kill myself in the Demolition Man future because like there's no music, only commercial jingles that's it.
You got Dennis Leary.
Oh God, Jesus.
You come down to the sewer. You want a rat burger?
Now, Demolition Man is that Wesley?
So you got
Wesley
Wesley
Snipes,
Snipes, Sly Stallone. You got
I can't think of her name.
I know.
I can't think of her freaking name. Oh my God.
I just had it right there.
Is she like a
Miss
popular?
Congeniality. What's her name?
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
Sandra Bullock. Thank you, Jesus.
Speed. Come on,
Yeah.
Speed.
Dennis
That's
Leary.
another one.
Dennis Leary's in it.
I can't. God, I can't.
The Spanish guy.
Yeah, I can't.
I want to say
the guy who's like, you know, what are these? Oh, it's a stunt trick. It's all we got.
Yeah.
Bang! You just hits the
Benicio
guy
del
with the,
Toro.
You know who else is in
Benjamin
it?
Bratt, I think is it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was in Doctor Strange.
Wait, what?
And you also got Rob Schneider.
Oh, Rob
Schneider.
Schneider.
Does not use
He
the
plays a
three seashells.
stapler in that movie.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider is.
Demolition Man. What's that? Like 95?
95, I believe. Yeah.
95. Demolition Man. That's a good one. That's
So put that on your list if you haven't seen it in a while.
I'm
it has,
going
to.
It has rewatchability potential because I got an older one that I haven't seen in a while, and I have a feeling that it won't hold up. I feel like you guys will know it and have some agreements with it.
I think we're
but
gonna.
I don't think if I were to watch it today, it'll hold up the same in a regard.
I think we're gonna have time to go around and do another, so
Yeah.
we'll probably get to that.
Do it.
Sean, what do you
Yeah,
got?
I'm going to go back into the 80s a little bit, the year that I was born, 1986, a John
That's the year I was
Carpenter
born.
classic, Big Trouble in Little China,
Fuck
starring
yes.
Kurt Russell himself.
Nice knife.
You know, it set the stage to have the Mortal Kombat game franchise created, you know, with
a
the Raiden
sense.
and the you know, the elements there, the three elements, the storms. Looking at the movie for what it is, it's just a lot of fun. It's cheesy, schlocky effects mixed over, you know, John Carpenter sounds and a really probably poorly written script, but it's just so much fun and it's so ridiculous and hilarious all at the same time. You can't help but just have so much fun watching that movie, and that's one that's, yeah, in our circle of friends, it's one that we constantly quote all
John
the time.
It's a great
Carpenter
movie.
Oh, yeah.
like ruled the 80s.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
he
Oh,
really
yeah.
did.
Thing,
They live.
They live.
They
Halloween.
live.
I mean,
I
know
this is the
that
one with
movie.
Roddy Piper, right?
Yep.
With
That's like the
with
10-minute fight scene between, was it David Keith, isn't it?
Yeah, I
and
think
Roddy
so.
Piper like just beat, like I think it was supposed to be like a 10-second fight, and they're just like, nah, we're gonna go at
I like
this.
how they like frame for frame redid it in South Park, the cripple fight.
Oh, cripple fight.
Jimmy and Timmy.
we were talking about reboots and stuff that deserves a reboot. Dude, I would love to see a Big Trouble in Little China remake.
Well,
or
they
anything.
are.
They've
The
been
Rock.
they've been rumored about that.
I
production for
Like
like
a couple
3
years
now.
now.
Yeah, it's
The
been-
Rock's supposed to be doing it.
that is one of like the movies of my childhood.
Yeah, I
like,
don't want that one retouched. Don't want it.
no, don't oh, so you don't want a reboot?
No,
at
no,
all?
no.
no.
They said recently whatever it was going to be, it was going to be a sequel. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a reboot. But I mean, you know, in any continuance now, especially like 20, 30 years later, you know,
32, Bill. I'm
yeah,
32.
Whatever.
Okay?
Sean.
We're the same. We have a lot in common. New babies, same age, same birth year. I mean, it's a little scary.
So when you guys
It's like
go
we're
to,
separated at birth.
when
Something,
you go into
man.
Ruby Tuesdays, guys,
We got a good salad
get
bar.
the salad bar.
That's right.
I'm
we were just
looking
talking about that.
up the cast of Big Trouble in Little China
Kim
besides
Cattrall.
Kurt Russell.
Kim
Kim
Cattrall,
Cattrall,
Russell,
yep. I'm trying to Victor Wong.
Victor Wong.
Egg Shen.
Egg
He's
Shen.
in it.
I mean, those are like
Toll bus driver,
those
San
are the big
Francisco
names like
Chinatown.
Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, and Victor Wong, who's like in everything.
Oh, and it also has the Asian guy with the Fu Manchu, who's like always like the bad guy.
Yeah,
in everything.
yes.
I
He's
can't
in
think
like he's in like I think
He
Last
was-
Action Hero,
not Dennis
like
Dunn.
RoboCop, like-
Because
No,
Wang Chi is the big bad, right?
Was that
That's Lo Pan.
Who was the actor who played him? Because he's been in a few.
You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, Lo
Long
Pan,
hair.
that's right. James
Yeah.
Hong.
James
Hong. That's it.
That's who I'm thinking of.
'Cause
Who's
he-
in everything.
Well, yeah, because whenever you have a movie
he's on
set in
Seinfeld.
like Asia or
Seinfeld
some kind
Fall.
of thing, it's just like, get me James Hong in here because that's the guy who's going to give our movies some more authenticity in terms of.
Wasn't he the karate teacher in the remake of Karate Kid too, I believe.
Is that the one with
that was
Jaden
Jackie
Smith?
Chan, I think.
I never saw
the
the
other Asian guy.
James Hong was the voice of the duck in the Kung Fu Panda movies. He has a very distinctive voice.
I think he's in Balls of Fury.
Yes, he's
Balls
he's the
of
trainer in Balls
There
of
you
Fury.
go. That's what I'm
yeah.
That's a
You know.
bad movie. That's good.
Yeah, get that one on there. The main character on that movie is on Walking Dead this season.
believe the last scene in Big Trouble in Little China, and I haven't seen it in years,
Yeah,
but
I haven't.
I remember it well. I believe the last scene he's in the truck, right? Like talking on the mic.
walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
Pork
yeah.
chop
Monster.
express.
Monsters on the
Pops
side of the truck.
out
yeah.
the back.
I'm not saying I've been everywhere and I've done everything.
That's a fun sidebar. Like the Pork Chop Express, we named one of our Humvees in Iraq after that.
I was
that's
actually going to
awesome.
wear my Pork Chop Express shirt today, but I
Captain America's like
yeah, I figured I'm coming to
You can't
coming
go,
to a comic
you can't go
shop.
wrong.
I Captain America's my boy. I'm gonna very very quickly sidebar. Speaking of the great permitted rewatching Captain America, it's gonna be like the Star Wars movies. I think like they didn't have like the big budget yet because some of the CG watching, because I got the 4K re-release, is like, oh, this is not gonna hold up well. It's still a great movie, but the effects were like I could see now where green screen was. But Captain America's awesome. Man.
Yeah, they just put out a 4K steelbook for Ghostbusters. With
Did they?
Newly released footage, never before seen.
I haven't heard about that.
I just saw it last
Might
night
not be a
online.
Best Buy exclusive.
Yeah, I'll have to look.
When are we gonna get the sponsorship from them?
I know, right? God damn, I mentioned them way too much.
Yeah,
Way
we keep
too
asking
much.
beer companies because we drink on camera all the time.
I always mean to
They
bring
never go
beer
for
down
it.
here, and I never do. That should become a thing. But Matt doesn't drink, so I'd feel weird. So, Matt, speaking of, what is your?
So I'm gonna say a movie from 2003, Tommy Wiseau's masterpiece, The Room.
Are really?
Yep.
Really?
Was that your movie?
No, but like,
The Room is so terrible, but I love watching it.
and I've never seen it.
Oh my god, man.
I've never seen it either.
It is a terrible movie. Oh my god, the acting is so freaking
is it-
bad, but it is an enjoyable watch. It's one of those movies that you have to watch with people.
I thought the whole thing about The Room was that it wasn't fun to watch. That it was that like it's
No,
not so
it's-
bad it's good.
to
It's
me-
just like it's just so bad.
No, The Room is so bad it is funny to watch. It is an incredible thing to sit through if you've never seen it. It is, oh my god, like as I can't do it justice describing any of the scenes. I mean, the movie is so freaking popular with people because it's so bad. They made what was the movie that came out like
The
about a year or
Disaster
two?
Artist.
Yes, The Disaster Artist. Like The Room is a classic of terrible movie making, and I love it for that. I absolutely love it. To this day, I it's hard to explain what is so enjoyable about it. I mean, Tommy Wiseau's acting, the fact that in certain scenes it seems like things are out of order. Like,
But does it have rewatchability? Can you watch it
yeah,
like?
I could watch it. I could
could
definitely
subject
watch
yourself
it again.
to it more than once?
I could.
Yeah, okay.
I actually could.
All right, I'm gonna go with my pick, but there's a catch here too. I don't think it's a bad movie, but everybody else in the world I think thinks it's bad.
It's actually a porno.
It is a porno. If you like robots, it's a porno. And I'm going with Michael Bay's Transformers. I love that movie.
That's just a terrible movie.
It is
I
not a
can't.
terrible movie.
I really enjoyed it when it came out. Like,
The first one's all right.
yeah, I really enjoyed
People
it.
shit on the first one. They're like Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, and like, why are Shia LaBeouf's like parents
I mean,
in the
you
movie?
can't
so
tell
much?
me
You
you
said
didn't-
that to me.
You can't tell me you didn't pause Megan Fox when she was hanging over like the hood of the car and like
But
the
she's
steam. Like I'm like pause.
she's never naked. Like
The thing
Ever.
I think a reviewer put it best about the Michael Bay and the Transformers movie is that like the average, like most directors, are kind of like the average guy. They see a good-looking woman, they'll kind of do the glance and go, "Awesome." Michael Bay is just like the amount of focus that he does. Like, and I get it. Megan Fox is attractive and
He
all
makes
that
a movie for the everyman.
stuff. Yeah,
but people are always saying like, well, the script was shit and the acting was horrible and this and that. And I'm like, you're expecting a good script and good acting from a robot punching movie, like full of
weren't
machines that turn into cars and then beat the shit out of each
there
other?
wasn't enough robots.
There
in
was
it.
plenty of robots.
I'm
in
sorry.
it.
Like, did
Christmas
Shia LaBeouf's
robot
parents?
feature.
Did Shia LaBeouf's parents talking about him masturbating?
I
Did
thought that they were hilarious. I thought
The Witwickies?
the Witwickies, man, the Witwickies were awesome. And they're in like the whole trilogy. I think they even show up in one of the Marky Mark movies. I could be wrong about that.
I hope they died in that movie. I hope their characters were just killed.
Just brutally torn apart.
Yeah, that's right.
And what's his name? Who's in all the movies? The guy who plays like the Section 7 guy. Who's
John Turturro.
John Turturro, who like he's
over the top.
He's over the top and so bad that he's good. And then people also shit on the second movie because
And then you
get
got
the-
the
if you
dad
tell
and
me the
mom
second-
were funny.
I love the second movie.
You can get the hell
because
out.
it didn't even have a script. It was written during the Screenwriters Guild
Oh, and I
strike.
bet you like Spock is the voice of the
No, that
other
was 3.
Transformers
That was
3
3. I know my
yeah.
Transformers. That was 3.
I'm under the robot's balls.
Dude, Dark of the Moon, okay? Like, not Dark of the Moon, that was 3. Revenge of the Fallen. They fight on the fucking pyramids. Like, what else do you want from a Transformers movie? It's filmed in Philly. They're, like, breaking things off at Eastern State.
I mean, my thing with the Transformers movie is that the other than Optimus Prime, other than I guess Bumblebee because he got his own movie out of it, most of the Transformers and Decepticons are not memorable in any way.
Starscream, Megatron. Megatron is voiced by
Hugo Weaving, who
Hugo
refused to be in the movies because he thought they were so garbage.
But he was in them.
The later movies he wasn't.
Oh, not in the later ones, no.
But he was contractually obligated, I think, for the 3. But then he was like, "I'm not doing this again."
Yeah, he's a
It's
guy that
terrible.
like doesn't want to fulfill his obligations.
Hugo
and
Weaving,
roles, huh?
exactly. Hugo Weaving
Red
bitches
Skull.
about every movie he's in except maybe Lord of the Rings. I think he actually liked playing a pointy-eared elf. No, he when he played Red Skull in Captain America, he's like, well, there wasn't really much to it, and the prosthetics, and it's really not much of a movie. I wouldn't really want to do something like every single movie Hugo Weaving's
The
in.
funny thing is, though, is that like Hugo Weaving, and he's not on my list, but he should be, is actually a very good actor. V for Vendetta, even
Yeah,
though
he's a big sci-fi guy too.
Like,
The
even-
Matrix.
but he
Yeah,
shits on all the sci-fi that he's in.
yeah.
Anyway,
nah.
Transformers 1 and 2. The third movie is shit, and the ones preceding it are shit. But the first 2, you could say they're so bad they're good. I just think that they're...
You keep talking
Good.
Transformers, you're actually gonna make me shit.
I mean,
I'm feeling it.
I don't think
brewing.
anyone would know if
Transformers
he did it
squatty
down.
body.
So there's that. Well, we made it through one round. I think we can do
let's do it again.
Another round.
I got another one.
Let's go around.
Bill, we're back to you.
All right, are we doing movie or?
We're still on movies.
All right.
movies, yeah.
So, Surf Ninjas.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. It came out during the 90s
Like,
ninja
the 90s,
craze.
yeah, it's another
No.
like it's got a Rob
Ninja
Schneider
Turtles.
like kitschy role
So,
in it.
Leslie
sidebar real
Nielsen.
quick. We were discussing this last night, and I think I brought up the fact that I believe on the first Ninja Turtles VHS tape, like one of the trailers is for Surf Ninjas.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Surf Ninjas.
Hulk Hogan's Suburban Commando is one of the trailers on it as well.
Hulk Hogan actually had like quite like the very brief like action movie,
don't know.
action
Santa with
TV show
muscles.
career.
That's a great one. I love it. Mila Kunis is like 5 years old in it.
Wow, that's a throwback right
yeah.
there. Let's see the cast of Surf Ninja. I always like to see who's in these.
Leslie Nielsen's the villain.
Yeah.
Wesley Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
From,
I said, who the hell is
Naked
Wesley?
Gun?
Nielsen? Yeah. Let's see here.
That's right. You don't need to
Nobody
Wow.
memorable except you got Rob Schneider,
I think he was a carrot in that movie, right?
Ernie Reyes Jr.
93.
Yeah.
I've never seen a poster
So
for this movie. I've
so
never
basically,
heard of it.
it's these three brothers from an island. I believe it's called Patusan.
I don't remember.
I remember.
That's a trivia question.
There you go. and so they get adopted or whatever. Like they're all different ages, and then like they're apparently like royalty, so they're like being hunted down or whatever. Rob Schneider's like their friend who just always does stupid shit, and basically the youngest brother for some reason navigates the movie in a way through his Game Gear. So he's he's a hopelessly addicted child to handheld video games at the time, and he's basically like when these there's like a Foot Clan that chases them around in a sense.
It's not the Foot Clan.
Not
right?
the Foot Clan. It's a
spin-off.
It's a stand-in for the Foot Clan.
This is like
The
a
West
to-
Coast
It's not
branch.
actually a turtle spin-off. Right?
No, this is
No.
basically like a three ninjas and a Ninja Turtles movie, just kind of like, hey, let's do this, and it somehow just kind of works. And
I
then
mean, Leslie Nielsen isn't even listed on the front page of the cast, which is weird.
yeah,
Well, there's so many stars in it that it's kind of got
Ernie
overshadowed.
Reyes,
4 Academy
Ernie
Awards
Reyes
came out of
Sr.
that
and
movie.
Junior. So there's that. And I've never heard of any of these people except Rob Schneider.
Is like I can't think of who's the black actor. Is that Ernie or is that Tone Loc or something?
Tone Loc.
Tone Loc. Yeah, because
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
he is in
Brothers
that
Don't
movie.
Surf. I was just like, oh my god.
Tone Loc, I forgot he was in there.
Oh, Surf Ninjas. All right.
So
Okay.
it's bad. It's good.
Sean.
I got Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
Mortal Kombat. 95, I believe. That came in?
95.
95?
I'm not gonna look it up because I think you're right, and I don't want to tell you you're wrong.
For being a fan of the video game as a kid, and then finally seeing it come to the big screen and being adapted that way, I don't think it's actually a bad movie at all. I think it's probably at least in the top 3 of all time video game movie
It
adaptations.
probably still
which
may be
is
number
saying
1, which is
something,
kind of
right?
sad. if you
Yeah,
think about
it very well could be. What was it? The second one was Annihilation. That movie's god awful all around. But
I'll tell
I think
you
the
what,
first Mortal Kombat was a lot of fun.
I'm not gonna lie and say it was good because I don't think it was good. It was bad, but it was like it is. I think officially so bad that it's good. That whole scene in the woods, which was really filmed awesome with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, like a really cool scene. And the guy, I think it's like one of the guys. I could be totally typecasting right now. From Big Trouble in Little China is it Shao Zhen?
Robert Chu,
No.
I think, played Liu Kang.
Liu Kang, not Liu Kang. I'm thinking of the bad guy.
Shang
Oh,
Tsung.
that's
Shang Tsung, right? Shang Tsung.
Nah, he wasn't.
I can't think of his name. He's in Man in the High Castle.
But like his acting actually was like pretty good in it.
Yeah, he was
Your soul
a badass dude.
mine. Yeah, man. Like,
It
Steps on his brother's back and breaks his spine and
Yeah,
shit.
it efficiently took the
and
characters
Goro's in that movie.
Goro
and
was
put
in
them
it?
on screen. You
Got
know,
punched in the nuts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Off the cliff.
those were $500 sunglasses, asshole.
Johnny Cage, Sonya, like they got like all the like,
Veronica
all the
Vaughn.
good- was Kano
Kano's
Kano's
in it?
movie?
Kano's in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and you were right, 95. I did end up looking it up. Oh man, Christopher Lambert was rated.
Yes.
It's actually pronounced Lambert. He wants it pronounced Lambert.
Is that true?
It's true. It's 100% true.
I'm not giving it to him. I like,
Go to hell, Christopher.
screw you, Christopher Lambert.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Robin Shu, Liu Kang.
I will
Or
give
show,
the
I
movie.
He was also in what's the movie with Chris Farley?
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja. Yeah, he was
Why
his
do I
his
remember
adopted
that
brother.
movie?
that's actually
It's a
bad
great movie.
It's good.
Fuck is wrong
There you
with
go.
you? Why do I
Takagura
remember
Dojo.
that?
The rest of the cast
Great
of
White
Mortal
Ninja.
Kombat are like nobodies.
Oh no, yeah, no.
It's amazing
Yeah,
actually.
the chick who played Sony was Miss Vaughn and Billy Madison.
They don't even have pictures next to their names. Like it's that bad. Christopher Lambert or Lambert does not even have a picture next to his name, which is kind of sad actually.
Connor
Oh, here
McLeod.
they come. Sorry, bad internet down here. They are loading.
Come on, Wade, up your boost signal there.
Mortal Kombat, man.
Mortal Kombat's probably my feeling is its greatest legacy is its soundtrack. It's
It
It doesn't have a soundtrack. It's just one song.
And that's all you need.
no, there's a few songs I loved from that. I actually owned the soundtrack back in the day on CD, which if you're young enough,
Are you sure it wasn't a tape?
No, it wasn't a tape. I had moved on to CDs by the mid '90s.
You have it on mini disc.
No, I don't.
Mini
unfortunately.
disc.
That would-
Yes. All right,
We're
Matt.
dating ourselves here.
What do
All
you?
right, I'm gonna throw a movie out there which nobody has seen, but I'll describe it as your Hunter from the Future. It's a 1983 movie starring Red Brown, and oh my god! All right, it's amazing to watch because it makes it seem, and the movie already spoils the big twist just in the title alone because it makes it seem like it takes place back.
Matt, I'm not gonna lie to you. I already forget what you said.
Yeah.
because I've,
I've
Backdoor
never even
Sluts
heard
9. he said.
Jesus Christ! All right, so yeah,
There's
basically,
always got to be one guy.
dick.
At least it wasn't us this time. Huh?
No, but basically, Red Brown plays a Conan-like dude. Like he's this badass warrior. There's frickin' dinosaurs running around. He's killing dinosaurs and literally wipes out, I shit you not, like 2 or 3 civilizations on accident. Nobody says a word about
wait,
it.
I'm sorry. Did you say he wipes them out or shits them out?
He wipes them out.
Okay.
So Red
I mean-
Fox
I mean, I
wipes
guess-
out two
Red
Red
Brown,
Fox
man.
style.
Red Brown, motherfuckers.
Simply Red standing by.
No, Red Brown is one of those actors who, if you've ever watched Mystery Science Theater, you've seen his movies. You've seen,
Oh, so it's that bad.
yeah. You ever the movie Space Mutiny, which is
I know
probably-
Space Mutiny.
This
was-
island Earth.
He was the guy. He was the main hero in Space Mutiny. That's Red Brown. The guy,
Gotcha.
"Rah!" Like he screamed at random for. That's Red Brown. But Your Hunter from the Future, one of the most amazing scenes in all of cinema happens where he's trying to help this village of people that got kidnapped. And of course, he ends up killing them all on accident and nobody ever mentions it. Is like he's trying to sneak into a cave. There's this giant bat flying overhead. He shoots it out of the sky with one freaking arrow. It freezes in rigor mortis. He grabs the fucking bat. And I shit you not, he hang glides into the cave while his theme song starts playing.
Do you own this movie?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
This is gonna happen.
You're gonna watch it.
Yeah,
you will watch it. And you'll, because I showed that scene to a friend of mine at work one time, and just literally as soon as he just kicks off and the theme song starts going, my friend just goes, "I love it. I know nothing about this movie." It might be, but it's
you're gonna have to send it over to
us. It's an amazing movie because like that whole cave scene, he literally breaks a dam and the people he's trying to rescue are all probably drowned and dead along with the other people that kidnapped them, and nobody mentions it. The other characters are like, you like killed all of our friends and family, man. But
I think we should get together and do our own riff tracks on this movie.
I think we should. I think that would be a lot of fun.
It's an incredible goddamn movie.
We should do that.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk after the show.
We'll figure something out.
All right. The fact that none of you have said this movie yet is amazing because it should be on this list, or you might just say no, it doesn't even deserve it.
I was gonna say I have some honorable mentions too.
Well, is one of them my personal favorite? Battlefield Earth.
I had that on. That was my number 3.
Battlefield Earth.
I was gonna say Zombievers, but
Karen gives me shit about owning this movie all the goddamn time.
She should.
It is so bad though that it's good. Okay, man, John Travolta, Forrest Whitaker.
Well, you were still learning to spell your name.
Rats, like Barry Pepper, man, Barry Pepper, who's like I think every '90s girl's crush. Like people love Barry Pepper. I think it was his nose, or maybe they didn't have.
Take that,
on
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I bet you if he asked 10 people who Barry Pepper
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
10 people
Wasn't he
would
the
say
sniper
who the
in
hell
Saving
is that?
Private Ryan?
Yeah,
I think that's where I remember him
he was.
from.
You know who else is in that movie?
Yeah.
Kim Coates, who was
think he was in
Sons of
Armageddon.
Anarchy.
I remember that movie mainly for the ending scenes when like a bunch of cavemen who like know nothing about technology like get in these Harrier jets and let's go guys, and they're like
transport to another fucking world and blow it up, dude. But it is, I think I've probably seen it like 20 something times. Like
wow, okay.
It is so.
You have problems.
2.5 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
Obsessed.
Who
much?
gave it the stars? Were they Scientologists?
Probably
John Travolta,
Scientologists.
John Travolta.
John Travolta was
God.
probably having a Scientology meeting and said, "Hey guys, can you all just like take a minute and go on IMDb and rate our show, please, our movie?"
I wonder if that's how they made him get into the movie. Like, John, your Thetan level is going to go down if you don't star.
Oh no, he probably volunteered. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do a
Passion
Scientology
project.
Yeah.
The ghost of L. Ron
I
Hubbard
need
came
to
back
make
and
this
rated
movie.
it for him.
How much money do I need to donate to Scientology?
But you could not imagine.
Well,
Like,
we need an intergalactic battle cruiser to get there. If you donate now.
Whenever we're talking to friends about like bad movies, Karen always brings this up and always tells, "Oh yeah, he owns it," and like I always give him crap about it. I'm like, "Fuck you, I like this movie."
That's
Throwing
what the
you
kids
under the
call
bus.
throwing shade.
Oh yes, throwing
throwing
shade,
shade at
Throwing
you.
shade.
not on fleek.
Nope.
Nope.
Definitely
Nope.
not.
So Battlefield Earth. Let's move over from movies to actors who not maybe are bad, so bad they're good, but underrated actors who you might like say, "Hey, this actor's in this. I really recommend this movie." Bill, we started with you for the movies, so Sean, we'll start with you for actors or actresses that you.
Right.
Yeah,
I got one of each. I'll give my actor first. I'm going to go with Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yes.
Very, very underrated.
He was my
in
number
my
2.
opinion. Was he really?
Yeah.
Very good. Mostly supporting character. I mean, you see him in stuff like The Green Mile. He's in Iron Man 2.
Hammer and Iron Man.
Yeah, Justin Hammer.
Seen him in Seven Psychopaths.
I did not see that
That
film.
is a
Seven
great
Psychopaths
movie.
is-
It's very underrated. Not
Just
a lot of
blew
people.
into the mic.
even-
That's
But
such a big
I think
no-no.
he's just got a really, really diverse range to where, like in The Green Mile, you know, he's Billy the Kid. And he's just a terrible, scummy, shitty person. And then you see him in, what's the sci-fi movie?
Iron Man 2.
No.
The moon, right?
Shit.
With the
It's
bad
Moon.
tan hands.
Moon.
No, I never saw Moon, actually.
Oh, Moon's
Moon's
really
a
good.
solid film.
Good night, Moon.
The damn Star Trek spin-off weirdo thing.
Wait, is this Shrek?
Galaxy Quest. He's in Galaxy
Oh, Galaxy
Oh,
Quest.
Quest.
Yeah.
Like he's a goofy dude in Galaxy
He's like the
Quest.
drunk, like he walked on board type of guy.
Yeah, so like he can just there's not a role that he can't play. He's a real chameleon, and I feel he's warranted to be a little bit more credited than he gets.
Just
credit
played
for.
George W. Bush in
Vice.
Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think he also got a nomination for it.
Yeah, I think he did.
Maybe he even won. I'm not.
Give this man an award.
I think he might have won.
I think he might have won. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell was actually on my short list. I kind of was like, should I put him on there? And I was like, no, there's one or two others.
Because he knew I had him on mine, right?
Because we did so much preparing for this. Bill, go ahead.
So I have Stanley Tucci.
Stanley
that was
Tucci.
another-
Yes.
I just think like everything I've seen him in, it's always consistent, and there's just
Devil Wears Prada, right?
He's just he just has a lot of range, and no matter what he does, like he fills the character role.
Speaking of Captain America, he's in First Avenger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
He's the
plays the
scientist.
doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Injects, Steve
He's the one with the
super soldier
schnapps
serum.
and
Oh,
then
you're
gets
from,
killed by the German
That's
spy.
Parsippany or from where he starts like listing Jersey cities. He's in an episode of Miami Vice that I saw, and he plays like
A drug
The
dealer?
reboot one, the reboot Miami Vice.
No, like a episode of Miami Vice from the 80s. He has
Oh,
like
the
hair.
80s in Miami
sure
Vice.
it's a
Okay.
wig.
I bet he's a drug dealer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
Stanley
is.
Tucci also does he play the talk show announcer in the Hunger Games?
Yes.
That
I think.
I've never
wait.
seen Hunger Games.
I think I saw the first one.
I think he.
About it.
I think
I think
he did.
Yes, he is.
Because
Yeah,
he was also.
plays,
He also was
Caesar
the dad in-
Flickerman.
He was also in the movie The Core.
the core. Ooh,
That's a bad movie.
That's
that
bad.
could go on the so bad they're good list. Yeah.
Yeah, he was also the dad in Easy A. I remember because he was.
Stanley Tucci.
What's that movie he was in with Tim Allen and that whole crew of people that just had like shenanigans?
Jungle to Jungle.
No.
Santa Claus.
You know what I'm talking about? That's actually a really good movie. It could be on the list of bad. and good.
Wild
I'll tell you about
Hogs.
shit movies that Stanley Tucci was in, though. He was in Transformers: The Last Night, which is probably one of the biggest steaming piles of hot garbage I've
I think
ever
I
seen.
gave up on that.
I saw that
franchise
movie
after
and,
the third one.
and
I
his
stopped
role.
after the second.
He's Merlin.
is-
He plays Merlin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait,
when I
Merlin
think of
shows up in a
Transformers, I
Transformers
think of
battle?
Merlin
like
the
they're
Wizard.
in the Dark Ages in the beginning of.
Okay, I was just making a terrible joke, but
No,
I didn't realize
I'm
that was
telling
actually
you,
fucking accurate.
As much as I love the first two Transformers movie, I think Transformers: The Last Night is probably the worst movie I've ever seen, ever, and that's saying something.
Did you ever see Shaco Lot? That's
No.
a bad movie.
Stanley Tucci is a good pick, though. I feel like Stanley Tucci is definitely that guy they call up. Or like, hey, we need you. Just like
Just
you are.
do what you do.
Yes,
great
do you.
character actor.
Yep.
Because in Transformers, like his role's not like overly important or necessarily valuable, but what he does as an actor, just he makes you believe that character, and he does it efficiently. And
He's going to be in the third Kingsman movie, apparently, according to
you
IMDb. Matt.
So I don't know how many we're going to be able to go through, so I'll pick my most. I've already mentioned him. I love Andy Serkis as an actor. Like just
We've talked about this
We've
before,
talked about
yeah.
Andy Serkis in the past, but
Like as a live action actor?
just
or
as
overall?
anything. Like I don't think he's done a lot of live action.
He plays Claw in Civil War and Black Panther.
Yeah, and he was actually probably one of my most favorite things about Black Panther. I actually wanted him in there more, but
I don't think he's really dead. Spoiler alert.
no one's ever really dead in the MCU,
but I mean,
right?
but Andy Serkis, like the Planet of the Apes reboot, obviously Gollum and Lord of the Rings, he's known for his motion capture, but I feel that he needs to get more credit from Hollywood at large, for his work. Like he's done more for that art
He
than
does. I mean,
anybody
we
else.
said this when we were talking about the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like he deserves an Oscar.
He deserves an Oscar or at least a nomination. I don't even think he's been nominated for anything.
They announced the Gollum movie, so
I
Maybe.
don't know about that, but okay.
I
Didn't Gollum just hide in a cave and eat his own shit?
well, I
for
think
like
it's going to
20,
be
30
about
years?
like Schmeagol about Schmeagol and like it's going to be a prequel, and I think like he doesn't just hide in a cave though. I don't know. They'll make.
I'm
anything-
sure they'll
They're doing the
flub
Lord of
it
the Rings
somehow.
Amazon show, so
Yeah. But yeah, Andy Serkis is my nod for my first one.
So, like I said, mine is a very high profile actor, but I don't think that he gets credit for some of the like movies that don't get talked about as much, and that's Christian Bale. I love Christian Bale, and I love Christian Bale not because of Batman or any of the other things he's been in. He was in one of the Terminator reboots and was about the only good thing about the movie. That's the movie where he went on like a whole tirade about like to one of like the directors of photography or something.
answer.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
I loved him in Swing Kids.
Seen Dragonheart?
Wow, really?
But Christian Bale, like if I'm ever gonna recommend
Newsies.
a movie,
Right? He's in
Newsies,
Newsies.
he's in the Newsies. Young
He's a little
Christian Bale's
kid.
in the Newsies.
Which one
Yeah.
of the Newsies was he?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
The kid with the derby hat on.
that's right. Which I usually wear, and I'm not wearing today because it's Union Game Day. If I'm gonna recommend a Christian Bale movie, it's not gonna be The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins, which I love that trilogy, but I will always recommend The Prestige.
Ooh, I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, which is probably one of my favorite movies. It's him and Hugh Jackman. ScarJo's in it. Michael Caine, Alfred in the Dark Knight trilogy is in it. Great movie about magic, and like I think it's like the late 1800s, and David Bowie plays Nikolai Tesla in the movie. Yeah. And Christian Bale's just awesome in that movie, and he's got this like thick Cockney accent, and it's just I love Christian Bale. I love everything he's in. I have yet to see Vice, and I really want to see it.
What was his first movie? It's a movie nobody thinks about, but I can't even think of the name myself right now. But
Are you about to take away my Christian Bale cred? Because I probably couldn't tell you.
it's the movie where it's his first movie where he plays the kid in Hong Kong during World War II when it's invaded, and basically, yeah, it's an epic movie.
What movie?
I can't think of the name right now.
Oh, I thought
totally
you
drawing a
knew.
blank.
You made you sound like. All right, now we have to look it
Matt,
up.
Matt, if anything, go back to the tape later where he says the words "thick Cockney" and just shorten. Can you just shorten that a
He's
little
lucky
bit?
that I'm the editor.
That'd be a soundbite like thick cock.
Thick cock. Thick cock.
Christian Bale's first
I
movie
want to say it's like Empire of the Rising Sun or something like that.
is
Starman.
Starman. Is
He was
movie,
literally a kid when the movie was made.
Pee-wee's Big
Empire,
Adventure, wasn't it?
Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun.
But that's not listed as his first movie.
Really, what was his first movie then?
Mio in the Land of Far Away.
Oh, how could I forget that?
He played Jum Jum / Benkei.
Oh,
Who
yes.
can forget Jum Jum?
forget that classic.
I
role.
remember Jum Jum like it was yesterday.
Hey, Jum Jum, come on.
Guys, we are pretty much out of time, but this was fun. This was a lot of fun. I feel like I could talk about movie actors and bad movies for hours and hours and hours.
Oh yeah.
But Sean, Bill, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we
thanks for having
absolutely
us.
should try and get together and do that riff track of
Yeah,
Matt's
that's gonna be
movie.
fun.
We'll have to get on that.
I bought the Blu-ray.
There you
I
go.
own the Blu-ray.
So,
We'll bring the beers.
there you go, man. Sounds good. Well, guys, if you get a chance, also listen to the Cinescape as well as their trivia challenge, which is awesome. Like I said, I'll be on there later this month.
Absolutely.
But thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
When we come back, it is the beginning of the end for Game of Thrones. Matt and I will be previewing that. Yeah. So stick around for that. That's coming up. Welcome back to Everything is Permitted, and Jon Snow and Winterfell and Cersei Lannister and all of these fine folk who we've come to know. It's all coming to an end starting this Sunday, April the 14th, I believe.
Is this starting this Sunday?
This not well after we record. Yes, this coming Sunday, the final season of Game of Thrones will be coming to an end, and it is. I'm sad, man. This has been quite the ride. It's been quite the ride.
Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones pretty much has set the bar for fantasy adaptations on television. I mean, the production values, the writing, the acting, like, all have been top tier. Now, I have barely watched the show. I've admitted that in the past. I will watch it at some point. My wife and I started to watch it about a year or two ago, and my wife just couldn't get past all the sex in there. All the sex scenes
What?
and everything. I know it is what it is.
Wait. Hold on. Stop. Mm-hmm. What do you mean she couldn't get past it?
She just felt that there was like too much of it. That it just kind of like, and don't get me wrong, like I'm no prude or anything like that, but at some point, like, I'm not a fan of like prolonged sex scenes that are just kind of like, all right, yes, I get it. They're boning each other. Let's move the plot along, please.
I don't know. I thought. I feel like in fantasy and fantasy books and fantasy, there's a lot of sex, though.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Game of Thrones definitely has, those, like, some of those sex scenes written into it. I've read a few of the books, but as I said, for television, it's like it just got to the point where it's just like, all right, can we do something else?
Like, I feel like it's standard for HBO shows, but that's just me. But it's not about the sex. It's about the dragons. It's about the dragons. You haven't seen a lot of the show, but
I pretty much
everything
know.
that's
I pretty
going
much
on.
know
You've
almost
watched
everything that's going
recaps
on.
and-
Yeah, I know about Hold the Door. I know all that stuff.
So we know that this is going to culminate in the final battle between the living and the dead. And I guess, there's also fronts. You have Cersei Lannister and King's Landing plotting. You have Winterfell back at strength with all of the kids there running the show. And then Jon Snow off recruiting the Mother of Dragons herself, Daenerys Targaryen. And it's shaping up to be a hell of a final battle. I guess the question is, do you think it's going to end the way I think people want it to end? Do you think they're going to do it on a happy ending and not so happy ending, or an ending that is appropriate to what Game of Thrones has been?
My feeling is they're gonna go with the standard ending. Like they're gonna have the happy. Like it's not gonna end with the Night King walking over the Red Keep's remains and such like that. Like it's not gonna end like that. The big question really is how does each character, what's their ending going to be? Because we already know that somebody is going to be sitting on the throne, that the Night King is going to be destroyed, and the whites and all that, they're going to be beaten down, it's going to be just wrecked. But to me, as I said, the question is what happens to each of the characters. That to me is the more interesting.
No, it is the more interesting point, and I think that the battle between the living and the dead is going to be secondary. I think a lot of what's going to take up this season is wrapping up these characters that we've either come to really hate and really love, and see where they end up. You have major spoilers coming up, so if you don't want spoilers, if you're still catching up before the series, I would stop listening right now. At the end of the last season, now that Jon Snow is a Targaryen.
Yes.
And at the very end, he is boning Daenerys.
Yes.
So there's the issue of incest and what that means. Incest has been a big theme of Game of Thrones.
But that's the Targaryens, though. The Targaryens are all about marrying their
They
cousins,
are,
their sisters,
but
their
Jon
brothers.
Snow doesn't know that, which
True.
becomes the issue. And he's, supposedly the new head, king of the North. He's the head of Winterfell. This becomes an issue, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe they don't make a big deal. I think that is going to be a major issue, especially because Jon Snow is inevitably going to find out that he's a Targaryen.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it'll happen at some point, but I mean, my feeling at this stage is like I can't go through every single character off the top of my head, but my feeling is that Sansa will be running Winterfell, and Jon Snow will either be like with Daenerys, on the throne, like they'll be co-rulers or stuff like that. Like that's my feeling is what'll happen. Or Jon could very well die. And Daenerys could be pregnant even though she's not supposed to be able to. It could be like, oh, it's a miracle.
Even though he's died already once on the show.
Yeah.
I don't think Jon Snow survives this. Like, I don't think that he's going to make it through this. Maybe he does. Maybe he gets the happy ending.
Yeah.
I do agree that Sansa, and I'm horrible. I can't remember her name right now. Sansa's sister.
Arya?
I'm sorry?
Arya?
Arya.
I
Arya
always
Stark. Sorry. No,
mispronounce
you,
it, but-
you got it. Arya Stark. Winterfell's going to survive this ordeal. The North will be, whole again. I think that Daenerys will end up on the throne. I don't think it's going to be nice the way she gets there. I think we are headed towards a nasty battle between her and Cersei.
Well, my feeling is I could see there being, because I could see them doing the bait and switch, is that they're gonna they're gonna be arrayed for this big battle between Daenerys and Cersei's forces, and my feeling is Jaime is going to kill Cersei before that happens, and Cersei might kill him at the same time. Like maybe she poisons him and he stabs her, because they're connected, they're linked essentially, like they're twins, obviously. They've been boning each other. He's literally the father of like 3 other children.
Yeah,
of their
but
former
he's
children.
started questioning her a lot.
Yeah, I know. And so, but basically, Jaime will use because I think she still loves or cares for Jaime.
Oh, 100%.
So basically, he's going to use that to get close to her. and he's going to kill, like, because I could see there being a moment where, you know, and like maybe Jon says, look, we can't wipe out their forces, we need them for the coming fight against the Night King. Like, if your dragons will wreck them, Daenerys, like, we know this. And Jaime will say, I'll do it, I'll take care of her, I'll get her killed, I'll kill her. And like, he dies either in the attempt, like right after he kills her, or she somehow manages to poison, kill, stab him at the same time. They're both gone, so now there's no queen or king or whatever that's overseeing the actual
King's
forces.
Landing, yeah,
King's Landing forces.
Yeah. Which
so
is
they
basically,
essentially would join up, and that's where
which
you
is
have
basically
the
the
epic
Lannister
final battle.
army. It's not even the, you know, it's not even the King's Land, because the King's Landing
Yeah,
has
the loyalist
yeah.
forces, I'll call them.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I think that Cersei is going to be betrayed in some form. I don't think it's going to be any of the main characters that we know other than Jaime. I think this is going to be Jaime's kind of, his arc of the season is finally realizing that his sister is too dangerous.
Yeah. And Tyrion essentially either becomes Hand or he takes over the Lannisters.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tyrion, because he is just, you know, he is Daenerys' hand, but he is just a man of so many different, you know, he's been everywhere and he's seen everything. It'll be interesting to see how his story wraps up. I know you haven't seen, you know, you haven't watched the show in its whole, but
No.
do you have a favorite story going into the finale? A favorite, you know what's going on right now?
I mean, I would have said Arya, but beforehand, because I was always interested in her becoming part of the Faceless Men and all that such, and all that fun storyline. But obviously, she's back with Sansa. You know, she's the one who slit Littlefinger's throat.
Which was such an amazing scene.
So, you know, I could see, like, I was interested in the Hound as well, and also what'll happen. Another battle which I'll predict is the fight between the Hound and his reanimated corpse of his brother, of Gregor
the Mountain,
Clegane the Mountain. Yeah. So that's another fight that's going to happen. Like, my feeling out of this whole upcoming season is it's going to have a lot of the beats that you're going to predict.
Yeah,
like there's going to be the fight between the Clegane brothers. You're going to have the killing of brother and sister with Cersei and Jaime and all that. So
I've always been, I feel like I'm one of the people who watches the show, and I'm doing exactly what the writers and the producers want me to do. Like, I'm very much all about, like, the good guys, and I'm all about Winterfell. Yeah. That's my favorite going in. I've loved the build up to Sansa getting back to Winterfell, all the hell that she's been through to get there. You know, with Littlefinger and Sansa even getting back there. I love, don't get me wrong, I love Daenerys' story as well. You know, she's been through hell as well. But, you know, Winterfell have been, you know, they've been the house that's, you know, they're the little guy in this. Mm-hmm. They're the people that keep getting shit on and keep getting betrayed. And this is very much their story. And it's also a story of rebirth for their house. It's really cool at the end of last season to see Winterfell and see it back being a power and having a new king of the North and Jon coming into his own. I'm really excited to see how that wraps up and how that wraps up with what I think is I don't see any way the show ends without Daenerys on the throne. Mm-hmm. I think that if they didn't do that, it would be robbing everybody who watches the show of what they want.
There's too much plot you'd have to get around with Daenerys not being on the throne or being killed, because then it's like, oh well, there's two dragons that she commands. They're flying. What happens to them? They somehow die. You know,
unless their brother kills them because that dragon is now is one of the dead.
True. I mean, I could see. Is it Viserion? I think
I forget which one it is.
The one that got reanimated because
that was so sad.
Yeah,
that was so sad. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I'm expecting, because more like another thing I'm expecting from the whole final battle is that Jon's gonna take one of the dragons and they fight the Night King, because he's gonna be on his reanimated dragon and Jon is gonna be on the other one. So he and Daenerys will be fighting the Night King. That's one of my predictions, because that's one of those things that, like, you've wanted to see forever, because it's one, like, honestly, probably one of the most fascinating things about Game of Thrones is its accompanying lore.
Right.
If you've ever read its lore that attaches to it, it's probably one of the most fascinating things. You know, the Dance of Dragons and stuff like that, like the Civil War, the Blackfires, like all this crap is awesome to read, and it really sets up this world. And one of those things that's always been in my head is, what would it look like for dragon on dragon combat?
Right.
Back when dragons were everywhere, when the Targaryens had this monopoly of them, essentially, like, that would be so
See,
cool.
How to Train Your Dragon is just a prequel to Game of Thrones. No, I'm really excited to see that as well. All the previews kind of hint that Jon Snow is going to get on a dragon.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about the prequel series that they're going to be doing.
Do we know what time period it's in? Because I know that
They announced it and I forgot.
I know there's like a there's like this. I don't know if George R.R. Martin wrote them or not. I think he did. But there's like these little prequel comics / little mini books called like Night and Egg, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
And it deals with the squire who follows, and like, I forget the character's name off the top of my head, but he basically, the squire who is the eponymous Egg, because he's totally bald, he shaves his head. He essentially becomes one of the Targaryen kings, and this knight that he follows around actually becomes head of the
You've read all the
Kingsguard.
books?
I've read most of them.
Yeah.
I haven't read up to where they're currently at.
I got to book 4 and I couldn't. Book 4 killed it for me. I couldn't get through all of Martin's drivel.
At this point, I wonder, is it like George R.R. Martin just waiting for the show to finish, and he's just like, I'm gonna.
I think everyone I talk to is of the opinion that the book's never going to come out.
I think what'll happen is George R.R. Martin is gonna die, and his estate or whomever will publish, because apparently he's written it. That's been said, like, by him, and
Or he's partially written it, he just hasn't finished it.
well, he hasn't like edited it. He hasn't like picked out, because apparently like he's written thousands and thousands of pages.
That's not shocking, yeah.
Yeah, and so, basically, just for whatever reason, he's just been, no rush to, finish this, which, it's kind of funny to me, but...
Well, it all comes to a beginning of the end.
Yeah.
This Sunday, April 14th, I believe the time slot on HBO has always been 9 p.m., so I think we'll all be glued to our TVs for that, the Game of Thrones final season. That's going to do it for our show. Episode 16 comes to an end. We will be back next week. Before we do, I'd like to ask you to please like, rate, review our podcast, and subscribe on iTunes, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next week. Have a good night.
To the moon, by airplane to the rocket, by taxi to the airport.